To us by Aflac. Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover. Visit Aflac.com to learn more. Our player guest today, we got Keaton Wade coming in. We got Coach Lou coming in. And, of course, we've got the head coach here, Buffalo's, Deion Coach Prime Sanders, who's ready for another 8:15 game on Saturday night. The Bearcats are coming to town.
That's good. I hope, Coach Lou coming in. I hope you got the bleep button ready.
Is that right? We got to be careful? All right.
Be careful. When you're talking about football.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
talking about life, he's good.
And he's not on the practice field, so we don't have to worry about that,
There you
right?
go.
There's the practice persona for some guys.
That's it.
There you
That's
go.
who he is. He's a totally different guy.
34-7. Boy, going down to that ball game in Tucson last week, Coach. I mean, people were talking about this matchup, going to be a tight, and your team. I don't know if you take this as a. When I use the term workmanlike, some people think of that as a negative. I think it as a positive.
What do you mean? Say that again.
A workman. When somebody has a workmanlike performance, to me that's going down and taking care of business. I thought that's what you did.
To me, that means you went to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went down and you handled your business.
Yeah. And we didn't have to have a Superman performance by Shador or anybody else.
Yeah.
The team ran the ball. Defense was outstanding. Was that potentially your
and
most
special teams?
Special teams, yeah.
Mata was special.
Yeah,
Mate,
he was.
Mark was special.
Yep.
The guys covered well. So it was a three-phase type of game, and that's what we expect.
Right.
We're really careful to applaud and praise the guys over something that they're supposed to be doing.
Sure.
So it's a fine line. You want to show them that you appreciate how they played, and you're thankful. I'm wrong? I'm off?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
About how they played. But you also don't want to go overboard.
Sure.
Because that's what you expect.
Yeah.
That's what we expected to see with the pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
They're just several weeks late. We expected that, and we missed another 5. So we
right.
had to point that out as well in the film room. Like, we missed another 5. So we expect that type of performance for these young men.
It's amazing right now, the way your defense is playing. The Buffs are number 1 of the Pac-12, Big 12, in sacks, number 1 in tackles for a loss.
Yeah,
Huh? That's huge.
That's saying a lot, especially the way we started.
Yes.
And we were not playing up to our expectations, to our ability, and we really, targeted a couple guys, saying, "Hey man, you ain't doing your job. Now let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go." And we highlighted that stuff and allowed them to see where they were failing at, and they turned it around. But it all started on the practice field.
Yeah, you talked the other day in your press conference about somebody asked you, okay, why now? And you said, well, it's preparation. It's all the things that you're talking about there. And do you find sometimes turnovers or sacks kind of come in bunches as well?
I'm not going to say that.
Yeah?
Turnovers and sacks come with proper practice habits.
Okay.
Sometimes when these young men that we're bringing in from the outside, from the portal, what I mean, but outside in, they had this stereotype of how practice is from where they came from or their high school coach. We go about it a lot differently, and the expectations from these pro-caliber coaches on the staff, we don't allow them to get away with just a casual practice performance. No, we have tremendous expectations to go hard in practice. Therefore, we know what we're going to see in the game. And the better they practice, the better they perform.
I know that this was your philosophy, I think, when you played, right? You play like you practice and
That's
prepare, right?
That's right.
And that's a truism that I
That's
think young players got to learn, don't they?
They got to learn it, but you got to recruit better too.
Okay.
You got to recruit to that point. Like, if that's what you want, recruit that. Quit just targeting these 4 and 5 stars and these stars here and stars there, and they get here and they don't even twinkle. Yeah. You got to get the guys, the Cam Silmans. You got to get those guys, the Charlie Offerdaws, those guys that work their butts off, the Stoutmeyers, the guys that you know what you're going to get in practice and you know ultimately what you're going to get in the game.
You talk frequently, use the term, that I'm looking for dogs out there, right? How do you identify that quality in a player?
That's a shoot, man. That's not just on the field. Yeah. That's a dog in the classroom. Okay. That's a dog in the community. That's a dog with his family that when his mother looks at him, she knows that she could count on him. She know that he's dependable. So a dog means so many things. In the classroom, we don't have to chase you down for your homework. We don't have to chase you down for turning in a paper. We don't have to chase you down for that. You're going to handle that because you know that's a priority here. Yeah. That's a dog, being on time. I told him the story this morning. Like, sometimes God would place stories in my heart from way back when. And it may not even fit with what's going on right then, but it may fit for someone in this room. I told him a story about, I always wonder why I'm such a stickler for time. And you have to go back in your life and say, so what happened to make you a time-conscious person? Because I pride myself for being on time.
Yeah.
When I was, I think, 12 years old or 14, made the All-Star team, baseball. And I'm Jackie Robinson. I'm the only brother on the team. You got to understand that. I'm straight up. I'm Jackie for real. And I remember, I don't know if it was my mother or my stepfather, got me at practice. Practice started at 6. I think I got there 6:20, 6:30.
Uh-oh.
That was the day that they gave out uniforms.
Oh, really?
So we only had 14 players. I was number 14. And you know, the guys were the guys with the single digits.
Sure they were.
That's how it was back in our day. If you had a single digit, you was him.
Oh, yeah.
I was number 14, and I was so mad. I mean, the jersey was big and was bulky because, you know, the higher the number, the bigger the size. You know, back in the day, that's
it's supposed to be for the catcher at that point.
Exactly. Exactly. And I was so upset.
Right.
And I remember just sitting up there mad and upset. I still dominated. I didn't let that dismiss anything that what I was about to do on the field. But I remember being upset about being tardy.
Yeah.
And I made
and you learned a lesson.
Learned a lesson.
Yeah.
Of being tardy, being late.
And you wore a baggy uniform all season long.
Bad, but I was still raking. Still not going to cover.
Well, that I don't doubt.
Still not going to cover off that thing. No. But I remember those, and I said, I don't know who this story is for.
Yeah.
But someone is going to register with.
Right.
So when I tell them those stories like that, they don't forget them.
Oh, I understand.
They retain them.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's going to resonate in some form or fashion.
Some form of fashion.
You know, you talk about dogs. I tell you what, you tested the old play-by-play guy here this last weekend. All of a sudden, I was seeing players I hadn't seen much this season. Keaton Wade, who we're going to have.
Let me tell you something, man. This kid never complained.
Is that right?
Never bickered, never murmured, never like, Coach, when am I going to play? Never got hurt. You got to understand, we defense end, rush in, linebacker, inside linebacker, because that's where we needed him.
Yep.
Back to rush in. Never complained. Never complained. So when he came back from injury, worked his butt off so hard, we were like, we got to find a place for this guy.
Sure.
We got to get this guy on the field. So you create a package.
Yeah.
You put him on the field. Rest is history.
2 sacks.
2 sacks.
Right.
2 sacks. But that's the way he practices.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about him being somewhere, being on time, doing his schoolwork, being assertive. Film study, you don't have to worry about him with nothing.
When you've got a guy, that's always impressive me. Guys who maybe haven't found a role, and then you get an opportunity. Coaches talk about take advantage of your opportunity. It's one thing for guys to hear that. It's another for a thing to guy to go out and do it.
And so many of those guys do it, like Mario Miller does it. Like when he gets his opportunities, when he got in there at receiver, he took advantage of his opportunities. Last week, perfect example, Cash.
Yeah, Cash Cleveland.
Let me paint this picture perfect because Cash did not take 1 rep with the first team or the second team for the whole week. But we had some bull junk going on, and you know what I'm talking about, so we had to address it. Cash, get in. Not 1 rep with the first and second team. First thing he did, we got in, he looked at, called out the MAC, called out the blitz, called out every. You could just see him up there just pointing everybody out. First rep, but he was prepared. So his film study, his preparation, even though he didn't take 1 rep with the first or second team, he was ready when his number was called. And guess what? This week, took reps with the first and the second team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm proud of those guys when they do. When they work like that.
Yes.
And his commitment to excellence is unbelievable.
And that position, when you're going out there making those calls.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Did you see the video of his family seeing him on TV?
That's a tearjerker, man.
Oh,
like when you watch stuff like that, man, you're like, hey, come on, man. I mean, but they said it perfectly. I mean, this guy was a nose star.
Yeah.
And he's playing. And he's playing. That shows you that we don't care about that stuff, man. If you could do the job, you're going to play here. I don't care if you're a senior. I don't care if you're a grad transfer. I don't care who you are. If you could do the job and you work your butt off in practice, you're going to play here.
So when your staff brings you tape of somebody to look at it, especially a recruit or transfer guy, and do you care to even know what rating systems are saying about him?
No, I don't care about the rating system. I want to see what the tape says about him. I want to see who he is. What is it about this guy? Show me what is about this guy. I understand his personality. Let me see the tape. What is it about this guy that will help us get to the next level?
Right.
And I loved every bit of it. Then he's just a consistent person in who he is. He don't have good and bad days. He's the same every day.
Much of your staff you've been with for quite a long time, so they know what you're looking for, correct?
They know not to bring me no bologna and I want steak. They know I ain't looking for no bologna.
Right.
At least if you're going to bring me bologna, take the little red ribbon from around the end of it.
Some of you might know what he's talking about.
If you don't know what I'm talking about with the red ribbon, you probably was sheltered in your life.
I think so.
Yeah.
Another kid that got an opportunity, Jordan Onave. wide receiver, number 8. He went out.
Works his butt off. He just got to. He's injured. He's just injured.
Yes. Yeah.
He just got to stay healthy because the kid can help us on special teams as well as the receiver position. But we have a plethora of those guys that can do the job. Yeah. They don't miss a beat.
I want to ask Prime. We'll go ahead and take a break here. On the other side, I want to talk about Buffs ran for almost 150 yards last weekend. 1 sack given up. That offensive line came to play against the Cats as well. Bearcats coming in this weekend, late one, 8:15 with the kickoff at, by the way, it's going to be 8:30 by the time we actually get underway. But nonetheless, 6 o'clock at the pregame on the radio network. We'll come back, Movado.com, back on Buffs Primetime. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. We've got head coach Prime joining us here. Buffs taking on the Bearcats of Cincinnati, 8:15. Late one on Saturday night. We'll get things underway on the network at 6. Hey, like I said before the break, your offensive line, I know you challenged those guys last week. 148 yards rushing, only gave up 1 sack. I mean, boy, they responded, didn't they?
They responded. These young men are getting grades every day, not only to me, but now we turned it where they're getting grades in front of the whole team. So however they practice, we allow them to grade themselves, and we allow the coaches to grade them. We pray that that grade adds up.
Yeah.
So you don't sit up here thinking higher of yourself than the film depicts other. So it's challenging because now they're getting direct understanding and not a scolding, but the truth is being told about how they prepared and how they practiced that prior day. Yeah. So they get to see that both sides in front of the whole team.
Yeah, the eye in the sky don't lie, as they say,
and
right?
And that challenges them tremendously when you see the whole – scout team players as well get grades. Everyone gets a grade on their practices.
I mean, is that one of the more difficult things for players to begin to understand, having that objective view of themselves? Because, like you said, the video does not lie.
Well, when you come from situations where you were the guy, then you come in a college atmosphere and you still thinking you're the guy, and you won't admit that, no, that guy there is special. That guy there is stronger. That guy is bigger. That guy is faster. That guy is who he is. Well, he may be a senior, maybe a freshman. You can't equate to that, you know, oftentimes. But you got to just put your head down and work. And sometimes they just think, and the parents help with that too, but them thinking otherwise than what's really on tape.
Yeah. I said to you during the break, I did a pregame interview with Jordan Seaton. That's the first time he and I have done an interview-type deal together. The first thing that struck me, number one, I mean, we start the interview, and the first thing he says is, Mr. Johnson, thanks for having me on, right?
Jordan is.
And then talked about growing up with his grandmother and his uncle and his mom and the tough love and what the expectations are and how I mean. First off, I was blown away by kind of the maturity of him.
Yeah, but you know where that comes from? All he hangs with around here is upperclassmen. That's what the line is. And they've taken them under his wing as like, this is my little brother. So the whole offseason, he really got close with Shador. They went everywhere. This is my little brother. So seeing how it's supposed to look and how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to greet people, that's tremendous. Because oftentimes we may not have that father figure in the home.
Sure.
Because you mentioned everybody but that father figure.
Yeah,
you know, but
right.
the uncle was there. He's a great guy, great human being to lead Jordan in the right direction. And the mother's old school mothering, we don't play about grandma and auntie and everybody else. So that's how that goes down. But I'm telling you, it's vital when you have a room full of solid young men that can raise these youngsters up.
That's good, and it's you know, Shador taking him under his wing, so to speak, who's you know, defending his blind side, if you will.
Right.
That's huge. Isn't
it's
it?
Huge, and to trust it.
Yeah.
To trust that, man, because you know we got some pretty good pass rushers around here, and they got the best of them early on, but slowly but surely he was coming, and that guy will be a top 5 pick in a couple years.
He's a special one. You know, just being in my line of work and watching you athletes all these years, you know, I've always said that special happens. There are a lot of talented guys out there, right? A lot of guys with a lot of talent. But when you get guys, yourself or a Jordan or a Bo Jackson or Wayne Gretzky, those kind, right? When you get the physical and the mental and it's in the same package,
that's right.
That's when special happens.
It's hard not to make plays. But the thing about Jordan as well is you're going to see him after practice every day, working on a little something, working on this, or maybe running, or working on his technique. And when you get a guy that's special, has all the attributes, but he works as well, he's going to win. Yeah. The problem is when you got a guy like that and have all these things going for himself and he don't want to work. it's not. He's not going to be successful over the long haul, and that's when you start seeing the inconsistency, or you see the flashes. When you see players flash, you know what that means. He has it, but he don't want to work to mature it.
The one thing that struck me about Jordan, too, because he came in with all kinds of hoopla and right, expectation, and I asked him about that. Because it's easy when you get told how great you are, and he's the #1 tackle in America, you kind of get, the old phrase, drunk on your own wine, right? You're like, oh, I'm kind of special. I said, well, how do you deal with that? And he says, I don't deal with it. All I do is focus on the business at hand.
And you know what? We don't serve alcohol here.
Yeah.
We're not going to help you get drunk.
right.
He had a great game a couple weeks ago. I said, hey, man, and team me, don't believe that mess.
Yeah.
Don't believe that you him. Do not believe these little grades and whoever's putting them out. Don't believe that mess, because you know darn well how many times that guy could have had you. If Shador would have held that ball a second longer, or not got rid of it, or his read went open, So don't believe that mess. We tell all of them. Like, we tell the DBs that too. Like, we ain't give up a big play last week, but guess what? Look at the film.
Does a great player have to never be satisfied?
That's right.
Is that what you want?
As part of what constitutes that he's a great player.
Yeah.
That he should never be satisfied. He should never not be hungry. He should never not want to watch one more hour of film. He should always want more.
Coach Lewis is going to come up here shortly. What do you want to say about him?
I really don't like him. I didn't know he was right there.
Yeah, he's in there now.
I didn't know he was right there. I'm sorry. I didn't know he was over there, Coach. My bad.
Better edit yourself a
now,
little
let me
bit.
tell you something, man. You talk about demanding the commitment to excellence on and off the field.
Yeah.
He is that. But it's easy to be that when you were that. Hear what I'm saying? It's easy to be that when you were that.
Sure.
So when he's talking to those guys, he's telling you, he's being your navigational system, telling you how he got there. It's a first rounder, man. Like, come on, guys. This ain't Tom, Dick, Harry, or Larry telling you how to get there. This is the voice. This is the black voice in the navigational system telling you how to get there. And I'm waiting to hear one of those. Can we have a brother or sister in a navigational system or something Siri? Can Siri be a sister Roxanne or something?
You can get everything else, Sandra.
Why we can't get that?
Hey, you know what? Just you and I come up with great ideas in the show.
Some great ideas.
I think right now you should be the voice of that. Huh? With all your business interest and connections.
But I want to talk like I talk.
Right, right.
Like when you missed the turn. Now you know what I just said. I just told you the turn. Right that's why we're in the situation we in right now, because you don't. I want to talk.
Now we're
like
talking
that.
right.
Yeah, I want a real navigation.
I want to come down the road, take a wrong turn, and have Prime say to me, "Hey, we don't need no bull junk here."
You're right. First thing I'm gonna say is, dog. Dog, you know that was our turn. Right? I want to hear D. Lou in the navigation system. I guarantee you're going to have to turn it down.
That's going to be the PG version, though, right?
If you don't get your
Coach Lou, he told me that you got to clean it up for the show here.
He's good as long as he ain't on grass.
Okay.
As long as he ain't on grass. You put some grass up on his feet, it's a different man over there.
And we got problems.
And ask him about, he got a young dog, too.
Yeah.
It's his son now.
Is that right?
Yeah, please.
Got to talk to him about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How old's his son?
Yeah, he going to tell you all that.
Okay.
He's recruitable. That's all I'm saying. He's recruitable. Let's just get that straight.
Is he a chip off the old block like Daddy was?
Yes, he is.
All right. I understand. That's good stuff. I think we're onto something here. Prime's voice on like Siri or whatever navigational system.
Yep.
I think we got something going on here. Somebody out there is going to do that, give you a call, and you can make more money.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I know that. Hey, Cincinnati's coming in here. Give me a quick thought or two about a pretty good football team.
Man. Fundamentally sound. They're not going to beat themselves. We're going to have to do that for them. Offensively, they run the ball well. They even throw the ball well. Tremendous balance. Quarterbacks don't make a lot of mistakes. They got some hard runners back there that can house it, that can run physically. The receivers are pretty good size offensive line. Defensively, they got a huge guy in the middle that can make it happen, that can stuff the run. They drop 8 tremendously. We're going to have to run the football. Remember what I said. We're going to have to run the football to really defeat this team, or catch them in blitzing situations where they may go one-on-one. They don't do it a lot, but catch them, force them into those situations.
Yeah, that's the thing we see. When you're playing quality teams down the back half of the season like this, right, you're